to this Physiolates program featuring exercises from the world of physiotherapy as well as Pilates. These moves that we are featuring in this session are some of the most popular moves that you would find in a physiotherapy clinic. So you will need a mat, perhaps a pillow to sit up on, or a towel or a blanket. We are going to start in a seated position. I'm just sitting right up on top of a pillow. And let's roll these shoulders, often tight and tense in everybody. So giving them a little bit of movement and opportunity to release and let go. And with our next inhale, we'll squeeze the shoulders up and exhale, release. Inhale to squeeze and exhale to release. Any stress, you're releasing as you exhale. Any tension, you're letting it go with the exhale. Just like gravity, drop it out and away. And last one, we're just going to squeeze the fists and the face and the shoulders as we shrug, and then let it all go with a little shakety shake, shake, shake. And let's address the neck. We'll drop the ear to the shoulder and we'll just do some rotations looking down and forward. Breathing. Take it nice and slow and be gentle. Don't force anything here. And then we'll move it over to the other side. Dropping ear to the shoulder. And then looking over that shoulder and looking forward. Some gentle rotations. Very small move, very contained and controlled and connected to our breath. And then we'll just allow for some semicircles side to side, looking down and around to one side over that shoulder, and then the other way. If you like, just bringing the hands to press down into the mat or resting on the legs. And we'll bring it right back up through the center, stretching up and over to the side here. Let's open up some space in our side body. Hold and breathe and energize that top arm, relaxing legs. Bringing the hand to the back of the skull. More openness as we look up and breathe in. And let's bring it over to the other side. Just switching whatever leg is in front. Reaching up and overhead, and stay here for a moment. Breathing into the stretch, into the sensations of the range of motion. The palm faces down. Option to look up to the ceiling. Bringing the hand behind the head. Reach through the hip to the elbow and breathe into that space in between. And let's release the arm and come back to the center. I'm going to turn to the side for these next two moves. So one is the chin nod. Not a very sexy move, but super important to save our back and our posture. And it corrects a lot of things in our body. So I want you to think that you have a string at the top of your head. pulling to the sky. And I want you to pull your chin back towards your throat instead of leading with your chin jutting out and away. So we do this all the time when we do computer work, when we walk, when we drive. We really need to strengthen through the back of our neck and our upper back muscles to keep the head in alignment. Jut the chin forward and then pull it back into place, doing the wrong thing, jutting it forward, and the right thing, gliding it back into place. So feel what that feels like and how the muscles have to work to support that posture. Now keep that chin knot in place and let's find some movement across our shoulder blades without bending your elbows. Squeeze the shoulder blades and then stretch them wide apart without shrugging your shoulders, without jutting your chin forward. Lots of rules here, but it's very hard to isolate this move just in our upper middle back. Squeeze and widen, really focus. And try to be in the place that's not too squeezed or too wide, in the happy middle. Robot arms, very popular on the dance floor, and rotating palms down and up. Keep your wrists still and your elbows high, shoulder height. And just feel this movement in the shoulders. Some shoulder rotation. Shoulders get really stuck, so we're unsticking them. Extend the arms nice and long and rotate palms up and palms down. Keep reaching, keep the stretch across the chest and through the arms into each fingertip and thumb, and rotate the entire arm up and down. And then looking up, stretch to the sky and release the arms down. Graceful dismount off of kitty pillow. And we're going to lie right onto our side for some clam legs, addressing our hips, our abductor muscle here, which is always forgotten and usually weak and causes lots of problems with low back pain. So pop those feet up and you're going to create a diamond shape in the legs. You're going to exhale to lift the top knee pointing to the ceiling and inhale, close. The key is to keep the feet nice and high, so keep thinking of lifting the feet. And let's take the knee halfway and just do little pulses up an inch and down an inch. Keep lifting the feet. Inner edge of the feet connected. And part 2, we're going to lower the legs down and just reposition into like a side lying leg stacked position. And we're opening the top leg, knee, away from the bottom leg and knee. So the inner edge of the foot still stays glued together, and we're lifting the knee and lowering. It's a very small move. Let's try to draw abs in as we lift the knee. And this last one, we're just going to hold for a count of 8 and keep lifting. Keep the energy drawing the knee up and away, but keeping the feet glued together. Great. And we're going to move into a side lying rotation. One of my favorites. So using kitty pillow comes in really handy for this one. We're going to stack the shoulders, hips, and one arm and leg on top of each other. And we're going to lift that top arm and we're following it with our gaze. So we're looking at the hand as it opens and reaches away, breathing into that twist and bringing it back. Option 2 is to draw a circle. If it feels okay in the shoulder, drawing a semicircle overhead, opening to that T shape and overhead back to arms stacked. The legs stay nice and still, so there's a twist through the trunk of the body, stretch through the shoulder, arm, and chest. And we'll finish off exhaling, bringing it on back. Find that top ankle or foot, and while we're here, let's discover quadriceps stretch. Often that knee is lifted very high because our abductor or abductor muscle is tight on that outer hip. So try to drop the knee down a little bit. Reach the kneecap to the bottom end of the mat. Push the foot into the hand. Tuck the tailbone and breathe in. Great stretch for the quad and the knee and the hip. And then let's maneuver over to side number 2. Chloe is attempting to tackle the camera, so I am attempting to distract her. Okay, success. Side number 2, coming down into our clam exercise. Pop those heels up. Let's keep the feet lifted. Open up the top knee so it points to the sky. Try to do this without leaning back. So imagine you're up against a wall and you cannot lean back. Our body often manipulates moves to make them easier and more accessible. So that's where we have to focus and concentrate on positioning and alignment to really target certain areas. And let's go halfway with that top knee and little pulses up an inch, down an inch. Keep lifting the feet. Keep the hips stacked, shoulders stacked. And part 2 is lowering the feet down and repositioning the knees in front of the hips. And we're just lifting or opening that top knee. The inner edge of the feet stay glued together, and lifting and lowering and exhaling and inhaling 8 times. And the last time we're going to hold here, like you're pushing into something with that top knee away from the bottom leg. Press, press, open, open, and release. Great. Let's stack the arms. And let's move into our twist here. So keeping the legs still, we're going to rotate through the trunk of our body as we lift the top arm to the sky and look at the hand as it reaches across the room. And breathing into the twist, exhale to bring it back. Part 2, we can contemplate a semicircle overhead. Unless this is bothersome for your shoulder or neck, you can continue with the first version. Otherwise, this gets into our rear deltoid and a little bit of our lat muscles a little bit more with the semicircle arm. And finish off one more time. Breathe in, open it up, twist away, and exhale. Bring it back again. Fantabulous. Let's find that top ankle or foot and drop the knee down into alignment for our quadriceps stretch. Press the foot into the hand. Breathe, breathe, breathe into the leg, hip, and knee. Feel a little reach in your tailbone downwards to the bottom end of the mat. And then let's release that quad stretch. Pressing on up and moving into hands and knees quadruped position. Hands under shoulders. Do some cat stretches here, rounding the back and arching the spine. Circulation through the midsection, finding the range of motion in our spinal column. Breathe through this, and we'll add on for these next 4. So when you round the back, sit back to the heels. And as you arch through the spine, lean forward, get a little wrist stretch here. Round and sit, and arch and lean forward. Round and drop tail to heels. And extend the spine and lean over those fingertips. One more time, maybe back a little bit more. And maybe extending and leaning forward a little more. Groovy. Now keep your spine perfectly neutral as we balance one leg and the opposite arm reaching away from each other. Imagine you have a delicious cosmopolitan martini balanced on your low back. Very specific, but it always works for me. And you can only get that martini if it doesn't spill. So hip stability in place. Lift the arm and leg at the same height. Bring it back in at the same time. Find that synchronicity. Good job. Let's come into a plank pose for a few breaths here. You can always modify keeping knees down. And lower onto your front body, onto the mat. Let your arms be wider than the mat. Your elbows, forearms, palms are down. Here is a baby swan move. And we're going to put our chin knot in place. And also squeeze our shoulder blades a little with this one. Very important. So I'm doing a little bit of chin jutting just so I can find the chin nod perfect alignment. And then keeping chin nod, let's float the arms up away from the floor. Stretch the arms back behind you and try lifting the legs. Finding this back bend. Engage your back muscles, all of them. And then open the arms wider, eventually coming down under the forehead. Just rocking from side to side, legs sway, low back release. Breath in and out. Stretch the legs, tighten the tummy, and try to lift those abs and push yourself up in one piece before finding child's pose. For a nice long inhale. And exhale. Walking hands in. Let's have a seat on the mat and roll right down onto your back. So I'm going to reach arms overhead just so we can see the low back here, doing some pelvic tilts. Arch the low back away from the mat and then press it down, imprint it into the mat. So you'll feel the movement in the hips and the tailbone. You'll feel some popping in the rib cage. Just like when we did cat and cow, very similar, extending and rounding, but feeling different in this supine starting position. So try not to be arched, but try not to force the low back down. Be in the happy medium. As we cross one leg over the other, we're going to maintain neutral bridge for a single leg lift. Exhale up and inhale down. Press down in that bottom foot and try your best to lift both hips evenly up and controlling down. Arms also help by pressing firmly into the ground. Going for 8. And exhale, the last one, we're going to stay up and hold a little bit longer. Happy thoughts, you can do it, you're the best, and release. Now we're going to weave those hands through the top leg to hold onto the bottom hamstring and just rock side to side. A stretch in motion. Bring that top knee into the chest as you stretch the bottom leg straight. Hands on top of the knee if you can. And exhale, push the knee into the palm so you're straightening the arms. Press, press, press. And then release. Pull the knee towards the chest, closer. An opposite arm is going to guide that knee across into another twist. Open up and away from that twist. And take a moment to breathe into the tailbone. Bring it back to the center. Find the neutral spine, and let's try crossing the other leg over for our single leg bridge lift. Top foot is flexed. Exhale, lift the hips evenly. Inhale down. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Getting our heart rate up a little bit with this one. It's quite challenging. We'll go for 8 and we'll exhale. Hold this last one up. Strong, strong, strong. And lowering it down. We're going to weave the hands through the legs to hold on to that bottom leg, bringing it in closer. And adding a rocking motion side to side across the low back. Bring that top leg into the chest, stretching the bottom leg straight. Hands are going to move to the outside of the knee, and as you exhale, generate a little bit of energy by pressing the knee into the hands, activate some psoas muscles, and then exhale again, release and draw the knee nice and close to the chest, and let that opposite hand guide the knee across the body into a twist. I'm resting my top foot on my bottom leg. I'm looking away from the twist. Breathe into the twist. It's a little challenging to breathe into a twist, but that is the point of bringing the oxygen into the body when it is in this different position. So it can oxygenate our major organs and muscles in a bit of a different way. And let's bring both knees in and just rock gently side to side. Reaching the arms and legs up to the ceiling. We're going to circle the wrists and the ankles, allow for a little change of direction for blood flow and circulation here. The arms and legs are never up to the sky, so here's an opportunity for them to do something a bit different. Just pointing and flexing the feet. Interlacing the fingers, let's stretch overhead. Check in with your neutral spine. And then bend the knees and bring the feet down. Stretch out the legs into this total body stretch. And right from our core, we're going to recruit some muscles to lift the arm and opposite leg up to the ceiling. They don't touch each other. They move away and lower down with control before they get a chance to connect. Exhale from your midsection, recruit muscles to lift the limbs. And then inhale and lengthen and stretch the arms back down into that total body stretch. Neutral spine, so try not to feel any arching or overly rounding. Hold the arms and legs down, straight, stretching, lengthening. And just let those legs kind of flop open without holding any tension in them. Arms by the side, naturally, quietly. And if you want to find a pillow or a blanket underneath those knees, this will just help your low back to relax a little bit more by putting a little bend in the knees and softening the low back down towards the mat. And just take your time here, tuning into the breath, checking in with a little body scan from head to toe. See how you feel. See how your body feels, how your mind feels. And feel free to stay here for as long as you need to acclimatize to this new experience, to this new state of mind, to this new way of feeling and being. Until next time.